Ready? Okay. I'll call this meeting to order. It is Thursday, February 20th, 2025, and it's 10:30 a.m., and we're here to review the updated emergency operations plan. And our emergency operations manager, Dan Martinson, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dan Martinson, emergency manager. So as you know, as emergency manager, one of our plans, the key operations plan is this emergency operations plan. In 2020, we contracted with a consultant to update and revise our plan. We did that and completed it in late 2020. And in that particular, the reason I've noted that is we converted the plan from an emergency functions type plan, which is, I won't go into the details, but most larger state and federal operations plans separates out everybody's function, fire, EMS, transportation, logistics, those different things to the different departments that handle those things. Small communities like counties and cities don't have that. We have law enforcement, we have EMS, we have fire. So we break it down by those main functions, but not all the specific ones, because what happens is one person is doing three different ones, 4 different ones, 5 different ones sometimes. So we flipped it to a agency-specific type plan, where the plan outlines what is the fire industry going to do and how are they going to correlate and collaborate. What is law enforcement going to do and how are they going to collaborate? Same with EMS. And particularly this update was when we did the original plan, the Ambulance Service District was a separate 501c3 corporation, and now it's been changed to an actual district, and so we wanted to update our plan to reflect that. And so that was the giant part of the change in this particular plan, was just updating the type of EMS function we have, and that they are coordinated with the fire district now. And so that kind of changed some of the wording and some of the expectations that are in here. So that leads me to, that's what this plan really is. It's not a tactical plan. Each department, each entity has their own tactics and their own methods there, so there's no super big secrets in here. And so, but this gives us that latitude, that ability to how are we going to interact with each other and what are their responsibilities. And so it helps as a training tool and helps as a guidance tool as we develop our other plans for response and recovery from disasters. So updating some language, updating some of the players, and predominantly was the updating of the Ambulance Service District to be worded more correctly in there and be recognized more correctly. So we went through a process. We hired the same contractor, a part of them, the one gal, much smaller contract this time. Ran it through the State Homeland Security project, so it was paid for through that. And then it went through a series of meetings with the LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Committee, who is that cross-section of stakeholders in our community, and went through a review and approval process with them. And that was completed in December. And so the draft in front of you is that draft of the revised plan. Ultimately, it is a governing document, much like our comprehensive plan or any other type of thing. So it is an approvable plan by the board, and that's what we're here for, is for you to ask those questions. And if there's more information you need, if not, we'd look for a motion and approval to approve it as the county plan, and go on from there.
Did you receive one on an email? Did the email? I didn't receive it.
I didn't receive it.
I sent it last week.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, it was a digital copy, and then
I
brought
received that.
up
I'm completely
a
missed.
paper copy. It's 125 pages.
Yeah.
And I usually ignore you, but I pay attention to Sydney, so I'm sorry.
I understand. Well, certainly if you need, if you want a time to review it and look through it, it would behoove you to do that for sure. And then you come back another day, or if you want a pending review, you can postpone the deliberations for that. But,
I did want to ask a question on confidentiality of the plan. I think you started to address that. We're not giving up our game
this
plan.
particular plan is completely open to the public. There's no secrets in here, and it was written that way. Law enforcement particularly always has, they don't want to put out their tactics or their plans or who's covering which area, those kinds of things, and those are private information. It's not for the public consumption anyway. But yeah, we certainly don't want it in a plan that can get out there. So yeah, it used to be a governed document where we had to label who gets them and who has copies and stuff like that. We don't have to do that anymore. So
Okay.
there's no.
But that information does exist in another form.
Each department has their own logistics and their own, where they keep their hazardous materials and how they plan to operate and how they do those things. So those aren't in here, yeah, for sure.
So how many, so do we have to have this, how many years is that plan good for?
Emergency operations plan, it's not necessarily tied to grant money, so it doesn't necessarily have an expiration date.
Okay.
IOEM's just, their drive is, as long as it's functioning as a functionable plan, then it's
Okay.
good. If it's old and outdated and not really representing your operations in your area, then obviously it needs to be updated.
Okay. So
So
we updated
every couple of
2000.
years, every
Okay.
year, every couple of years, and more we're moving towards those. It's much easier to look at it every year and change some names and change some who's the chief and who's the sheriff
Yeah.
and who's the who in it. And if there's something substantial, particularly like the evolution of the ambulance service district to a district,
Okay.
we want to make sure that's reflected in there. But so annually, we'll take a look at it and see if it's something that needs to be changed. If there's nothing drastic that needs to be changed, we'll probably leave it, and then a year later review it again. And then if there's something to go in and make some amendments, then we want to put
Okay.
the effort to do that.
Okay. All right.
Well, I would say if you wanted to have a time to get a chance to read through it and
Okay.
then
What do we look like next,
reschedule for
next
sometime in the
Wednesday?
future next week.
We're pretty open after, we have an 11 on Wednesday, so.
Okay, so and that would probably take about a half an hour.
Yeah.
It's,
Let's do 11:30.
in the meantime, if you're reading through something, if there's any particular questions, if I don't know, I'm certain there's whoever there's whatever, fire, EMS,
Okay.
law enforcement, whatever that component is, we can go get whatever question answered.
Okay.
I know that we went through those meetings with those agencies and everybody's had that opportunity to review and approve and
Okay. All
have
right.
it say what they wanted it to say.
Okay. I will motion that we table this until next Wednesday at 11:30.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anything further? Anybody have any questions or concerns?
Apologize that we missed
Yeah.
it. We'll get it read.
We're not under a deadline at this point. So
Okay.
we really know we won't be,
Yeah,
so
It looks like fun reading.
Any public comment on it?
you might enjoy it.
The question was H&H contractor that helped on it.
No,
You say who?
it's Mountain View Consulting.
Okay, thank you.
It's
Any questions? All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.